So even if Manchester United wanted to, which I'm not even sure they have the creative thinking to do, this probably would still be a deal that's very unlikely, but it's an outside of the box idea that whilst it wouldn't be in my primary strategy for the summer transfer window, it would be more of a wildcard idea to try, in order to give United a bit of an edge going into next season. But what exactly is this idea? Well, I was thinking about if there are any players that United could sign who could come in and immediately start producing elite level output, and I couldn't think of too many players who weren't either too expensive or just flat out unattainable. But then I remembered that both Marco Verratti and Paul Pogba were actually available on a free this summer, and I had a thought. See, the issue with signing Verratti and Pogba in the first place, you'd assume would be the salary that they would command, but I actually think it won't be a massive obstacle, as I don't think either are going to command the same sort of salary packages that they have been on or were on in recent seasons. But secondly, fitness and availability. But then I also thought, what if you give Verratti and Pogba essentially a joint contract? Now obviously they would have individual contracts, but just in terms of the salary that United are paying, what if you treat Verratti and Pogba as a 250k a week player? Assume that because they almost certainly won't be playing every single week and will miss parts of the season most likely, they both have pay-as-you-play contracts. That way if either get injured and are out for 3 months, we aren't paying for that. Yes, the appearance fees would be significantly higher than every other player, but that's because they would be on a reduced weekly salary. And I'm going to break this down further in just a minute, but before that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, with Manchester United jerseys going all the way back to the early 90s. Depending on where you live, you can get 7 to 12 day delivery time, as well as a 30-day money back guarantee. But if you want to check out any of the details before you buy, you can contact them through their WhatsApp or email, which is on the site. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you will get a 10% discount for a limited time, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below. So the contract that you give Verratti and Pogba would be something like this. Now you may have to give them a base salary of something like £50,000 per week, £2.6 million per year, which is only £5,000 a week more than Tom Heaton and 15k below what Johnny Evans earns. However, let's say they play a game a week, either midweek or on the weekend, they'd receive £50,000 extra per week. They aren't going to be available to play both weekend and midweek consistently, and will probably both play around 20 games each season. So if they play, they're on £100,000 per week, and you can add on another £25,000 as a win bonus, because if they are playing and we are winning, then things seem to be working. Obviously I haven't thought through the finances in depth, this is just the outline of an idea, but how would this work in reality, both in terms of minutes on the pitch but also tactically in Amorim's system? Surely Verratti and Pogba aren't suited to Amorim's style or even the Premier League. Well, if you think that, watch till the end of the video and see if I can change your mind. And even though it does sound ridiculous, there are previous examples of players coming out of what is essentially a temporary retirement, with 2 examples being Johan Cruyff and Diego Maradona. And I'll cover those stories on Patreon, so if you do want to read those articles, you can get a 7-day free trial. I'll leave it linked in the eye above, description, comment section, and on the end screen after the video. But a player I'm going to be comparing Pogba and Verratti to in this video is Paul Scholes. See, Scholes initially retired in 2011 after United won the title, but with Manchester City emerging as significant title contenders the following season, on the 8th of January 2012, he came out of retirement with his first game back coming after 6 months without playing football, against City in a Manchester derby in the FA Cup 3rd round, and Scholes slotted into the Manchester United side like he'd never been away, and I would actually argue that this might have been Scholes' peak during the second half of the 2011-2012 season and the following 2012-2013 season when Ferguson won his final Premier League title. Scholes was phenomenal for 18 months, and I would say as good as Andrea Pirlo from 2012 to 2015 during the twilight of his career at Juventus. During this period of their careers, both Pirlo and Scholes were probably 2 of the best classic registas in football history, a level above someone like Steven Gerrard when he dropped deeper into that role. And whilst they may not reach Scholes or Pirlo's level, I think Pogba and Verratti could definitely play that creative regista role in Amorim's system, and it doesn't even have to be from the start of the game. Imagine if United are losing or drawing at Old Trafford, and around 55 minutes, 60 minutes into the game, we are struggling to create chances, with the opposition sitting deep and compact, and allowing us to dominate possession, but stopping ball progression into the box. Well, if you have one of, if not both, of Verratti and Pogba on the bench, even if they are 75% of what they were when they were playing for PSG and Manchester United a few years ago, I think that could win us a non-insignificant amount of games that we would otherwise draw or lose. See, Marco Verratti is one of the few central midfielders in Europe who can dictate the tempo of play, even at the highest level, whilst Pogba's creative passing is genuinely only matched by the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Toni Kroos. and these attributes shouldn't have significantly declined, as you would expect with things like athleticism and pace. You need to control possession to see out a 1-0 lead, bring on variety at the base of a midfield diamond with two industrious ball winners or box-to-box midfielders like Mainoo, Agate or Kone either side, with Xerxes or Bruno Fernandes at the top of the diamond, and I think you have the perfect setup to allow variety to assert control over a game, whilst also protecting him without the ball defensively as well. 1-0 down at home to Crystal Palace, who are dropping off and reducing space centrally, bring on Pogba for the last 30 minutes, with him able to use his world-class long passing to directly progress the ball into chance-creating positions in the final third, looking to get what is called the pre-assist. With his long-range shooting and ability to create chances via his crossing and intricate passes around the box, and I can't see how he's not a better option off the bench than what United currently have. See, with the change in the substitution rule, which now allows 5 subs throughout a match, I think this opens up the opportunity to maybe sign players who you intend to use as a sub, not playing the full 90 but maybe 30 to 35 minutes, either at the start or at the end of a game. And what players are better suited to this impact sub role than two players in Verratti and Pogba, who would both need to be protected to avoid injury throughout a season, so limiting their minutes would be unnecessary anyway, but also players who have such a high level of quality that when the game gets to the last 30 minutes and the opposition are fatigued, the game gets a bit more stretched than usual. This is the optimal time for them to use their ability to have full impact on the outcome of the match, which is ultimately what you are signing them for. I would consider them a luxury signing, £125,000 per week, varying depending on how much they play. That's £250,000 a week. That's 100k less than what Casemiro is currently on. So if we assume they only play every other week, that means that you've got one of Verratti or Pogba for £125,000 per week. Verratti at the base of a diamond midfield in the same role that Pirlo played for Conte's Juventus and Ancelotti's Milan sides, with Agate and ideally someone like Manu Kone, Kobbie Mainoo or Sekou Kone either side, with Bruno Fernandes or Xerxes at the top of the diamond. If we want to control possession to protect a lead, Xerxes' hold-up play and Verratti's ability to dictate the tempo of play, slowing the game down when needed but still having a killer eye to try to kill the game off if the opportunity presents itself. I think this would be a perfect match. On the other hand, if we're chasing a goal, bring someone like Pogba on and have Manu Kone one side and either Mainoo or Agate the other, with Bruno Fernandes at the top of the diamond. We saw during the 2020-2021 season and the 21-22 season how effective Bruno and Pogba can be in the same midfield, and with a striker like Osimhen up front, two powerful runners at wing-back like Ahmad and Garnacho, with offensive and athletic wide centre-backs like Dorgu and Mazraoui, and I think United have a very promising setup when they are chasing a goal, but still retaining defensive security in the rest defence and out of possession. Let me know what you think, but if I was a director of football at United, I would insist that the squad has at least one wild card, a luxury player, whatever you want to call it, as if you can register 25 players, why not have at least one player in the squad, or two in the case of Verratti and Pogba, who have world-class skill sets in their locker? For me, I'd either sign Rayan Cherki or sign Verratti and Pogba on this kind of incentivised pay-as-you-play contract. I just think this wildcard option could turn losses into draws and draws into wins, whilst also keeping wins from turning into draws. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to Dragon Jersey. You can use code Atlantis at checkout to get 10% off. I'll leave it linked in the description and comment section below. And if you do want to sign up to read my articles or to sign up for the Instagram group chat, I'll leave my Patreon linked on the end screen now.